Hey, Benji Kaiser here at the Gigabyte booth, CES 2020, looking at the Aero 15. And this laptop is going to get my best of show of any creator laptop I've seen on the floor at CES 2020. And I'm going to talk about why in just a moment. If you're new to the channel, my name is Benji Kaiser. This is where you're going to find the best tech and tools for graphic designers and creative professionals. So if that sounds like your kind of place, consider subscribing and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of the future videos. Now, during the video, if you're curious about the specs or pricing of this model at any time, you can head down in the description below and click one of those links. If you do use that link, it is an affiliate link, so I will get a small commission, but at no extra cost to you. All right, now we're jumping back into the Aero 15. This thing does have all the bells and whistles. You can have anywhere from 16 gigs of RAM to 64 gigs of RAM. You have the i7 9th generation processor. So it's got you covered as far as specs are concerned for video editing, graphic design, motion design. But I want to dive deeper into what Gigabyte is doing with this Aero 15 and why I say it's the best of show. First of all, one thing I want to mention is the RTX Studio certification that this laptop comes with. What that means is with that RTX 2080 Max Q, it is optimized for Adobe Premiere Pro, for Adobe Photoshop, for the Adobe Suite. They actually optimized it for 40 different apps for designers, something like Autodesk or Miya. These are programs that they have optimized the GPU for to run as proficient as possible. I think that is so important because right now, a lot of companies are creating creator machines, but what they're not necessarily doing is optimizing them for creator tasks. They're taking great gaming computers and then changing a few things on those computers to make them better suited for creative professionals. But what Gigabyte is doing is not only putting the right components in, but also optimizing them. Another thing I want to point out is the X-Rite Pantone color calibration. So they're coming out of the factory color calibrated for 100% Adobe RGB. So that means you don't have to calibrate your machine when it comes to your doorstep. It's already been calibrated. I think that's amazing because a lot of times these screens could be 100% Adobe RGB, but if they're not properly calibrated, then they wouldn't actually be reaching and displaying the correct color calibration. Another thing that Gigabyte is doing is they're linking up with Microsoft Azure for you to transfer your data. So while you're using your programs, they're tracking, say, how Premiere Pro is running, how Photoshop is running, how Lightroom is running, and you send that data off to Microsoft Azure. They then assess the data, send information back to your laptop, and at that point, they will automatically tune, say, Premiere Pro or Photoshop or Lightroom to run more proficiently. You're optimizing your machine without actually going in there and having to know how to do it. A lot of times as a creative professional, I don't know how to overclock my CPU. I don't know how to overclock my GPU. I don't know what's too much heat or too little heat. So what Gigabyte has done is partnered with Microsoft Azure and created this AI platform for you to get the most out of your creative professional laptop. Overall, I love the build quality. It's got really strong hinges, a good open and close. The keyboard is well laid out. I'd say the only thing that I'm not a huge fan on is how far the keyboard comes out to the edge of the keyboard deck. It's kind of a personal preference. I like to have a little space on the side of the keyboard so my hand doesn't feel like it's rolling off. So if you're somebody who likes more keyboard spacing on the sides like I do, you can come on over this way and you could pick up the 17-inch model. So this will give you ample keyboard spacing on the sides so your hands aren't rolling off like that preference I was just talking about. Now, something that's really cool is the Gigabyte Aero 15 and the 17 both have a really nice open vent right above the keyboard deck here. Give it some great breathing room because you got a lot of power in these machines and the optimization is wonderful, but if it gets too hot, you could run into some problems. So they've counteracted that by putting some vents at the top of the keyboard deck, the sides, the back end, and the bottom of this casing. I am extremely impressed with this computer. Like I said, it's getting my best of show. Last thing I want to mention is the trackpad. They've done a very good job of having a nice trackpad, solid, soft click. It's not too chunky. It's got good sensitivity when I'm going and scrolling through. It has touch gestures. Overall, I'm really excited about this laptop, as you can tell. I'm trying not to be too hypey because I don't want you to think this is a super biased review. I've looked at probably, I think, 20 laptops or more over this event at CES. So that's why I'm really trying to come to you guys with the information that you need to make a qualified purchase decision for your next laptop. Now, keep an eye out on the channel because I'm actually going to get one of these in-house to test it out in video editing, in photo editing, and so we can see what this thing will do with 4K playback. We can see what it'll do when exporting, when rendering. So I'm gonna run through a bunch of tests. So definitely subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss out on that content. Otherwise, keep an eye out for more CES videos coming your way. I'm really enjoying being here, and I hope you guys are appreciating this content. I'm Benji Kaiser of BenjiKaiser.com, and I'll see you here on the next video.